just wondering, obviously, look, you haven't had long to reflect, but the team's lack of intensity, lack of sort of, I don't know, urgency last night, is that still sort of niggling away at you?
No, I think you have to park things pretty quickly, and I think the group have done well overall, and I weren't a million miles off last night, but, we all talk about the margins, the 1% added across the team, and as you say, not the intensity that was shown, certainly in the Tottenham game, certainly when we were over in Utrecht, didn't find their moments, and I think that can happen. Just one end where no one quite ignited each other. Sometimes you need someone to do something that ignites everyone else, and it just seemed that everyone was waiting for each other to do something, so... It happens one of them nights when it was all a bit flat. I thought the game was a bit flat in general, actually. Our fans were terrific, travelling all the way down there. They were trying their hardest to get the team sort of going, as was I. But sometimes it's the hardest thing when everyone's just having a bit of a down day. But nowhere near. I didn't think it was a performance that loses you a game, but it wasn't the one that wins you out, I don't think.
Given the individual quality in this team, then, does that surprise you that at times there isn't that player that's dragging this team and raising the standards?
No. Some of these players are still developing in the Premier League. They're still new to it, and we've got players coming out of trying to get true fitness, if you like. With Dougie particularly, he's done ever so well. Dougie, we've fast tracked him back. I said that before. He played over in Utrecht and played a half, and we've absolutely pushing him to get back. So that was a big ask for him. He will get fitter and stronger. It's one of them strange things about football. You're always looking for a moment from someone, and we just couldn't find their moment. So it's a collective thing, no individual moments or no individual question marks. It's just a collective thing. We didn't quite have that edge that we've been showing a lot more of recently.
In the Premier League, the form's been win-loss, win-loss, win-loss. How do you sort of...
Well, that'll do. If that keeps going, don't forget, that'll do. So let's not go far away from that. That's quite a good pattern. If you do the stats over a Premier League season, if that carried on all season, that would be quite a good situation.
So you're not sort of annoyed by the lack of consistency or the,
No, I've mentioned it constantly since I got here. I've mentioned it, every role I've had as a manager. It's the biggest thing. Finding consistency through your training schedule, finding consistency of performance. Constantly, where many years ago at Burnley, used to talk about automaticity and the idea of just doing automatic behaviours. But it takes time. The culture has been changing, and I think the players have done fantastically well with it. And now it's about pushing all the time, for more and more and more, and being sort of hungry for more. And we've had moments when moments when we've just had a bit of a soft performance, like last night. A couple of ones, we were miles off at Everton, but we weren't miles off last night. You're a moment away from it all changing. But it's that one, I always say, be the person that makes a difference. Don't wait for someone else to make a difference. And it just felt a little bit huff and puff last night.
Have you had time to either have a think or have conversations about January, about either what you'd like or about the club invested and you've got quite a big squad, maybe sort of seeing players leave or anything like that?
I think it's likely to be a big window. It is anyway in the history of the January window, but I think it's unlikely. The club spent a lot of money getting ready for this challenge with the Europa League and the Premier League and whatever comes in the other cups. So no, I think it's unlikely, but this club on the other hand has shown if things come available in the right time and the right people involved, then it can happen. But I think after the big investment in the summer, I think it'll be a slow window, but you never know. Like I say, you've got to be aware of the shifting sands of the market, which we certainly will be.
I saw Olorano at the training ground the other day and he was saying, you're going to see me back on that pitch really soon. How is he progressing? Because I presume he'd be quite a big player to have back.
Yeah, we've got all players back to fitness, but he's progressing well. Played in the B team, as they call it here, reserve team, whatever you want to call it. He played in that last night and was fine, as in injury-free. So, it's another step forwards.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Ivan, PLP.
Sorry.
It's all right, Sean. Nice to see you. Will you be weighing your players in for this next game?
I think it's unlikely. I presume you're mentioning about Pep. Is he weighing himself in, do you think? I wouldn't know. One rule for one. Come on, Pep.
Behind that is a serious question, though. How you manage young players with families at a time of year where people will indulge. I mean, how do you manage all that?
As I always say to the players, on your passport, it says professional footballer, not just footballer. So everyone wants to be a footballer. What about the professional side of it? So just looking for the players to use a bit of common sense. I don't mind them having a Christmas dinner. Why not? Sometimes the psychology is as important as anything, with athletes. And, within reason, you want them to enjoy their Christmas day. I certainly do. It's a big part of their life. These players are working ever so hard on varying moments, and I know Man City do as well, of course, year on year, in Europe and all sorts. So, no, I don't mind that, but It's fair to say that I do take fitness considerably important, or I take it very importantly, I should say. But I'm not obsessed with it and weights and all that sort of stuff. But it's fair to say I've got my eye on it. So yeah, they'll be encouraged to enjoy their day. They have got the day off, which I wanted to do, obviously with the extra day before the next game. But yeah, a bit of common sense, I think.
And of course, you're only carrying out something you had to live by yourself as a player. So it's not as if you're
Slightly different in my day, but
well, indeed. How was it in your day, and how has it changed?
No, I think there is a lot more attention to detail, and certainly I am big on that. The players mostly, they look after themselves way different. I was very fortunate actually. Millwall under Mark McGee, they brought in a big dietitian, Dr. Adam Carey and his team, and so I was in front of the curve by chance, not because of me. And we'd done all sorts of stuff on diet and weight control and fitness and all that. So I had my best 5 years after that. Excuse me, from 31 to 36. So I'm a great believer in it. But these players now, you've got to remember the education they get through the academy system. We never had all of that. I remember turning up at Nottingham Forest and having a pre-match. I didn't even know what one was. We know when I was at home, it was meat and 2 veg, and you had mashed tatties. That's what I had. So I was looking, going, well, what's that? Beans on toast? Didn't even know, because my parents weren't football people. So you learn. But these players now coming through the academy, they should all know, and they certainly do, what to eat, when to eat, how to look after themselves, good sleep, and all them sorts of things. So you're now looking at them to educate them and go, right, just be sensible.
Because it's Christmas, I'm going to bring up Brian Clough just before you do. But I mean, I wonder what his take on things like that would be, and whether the way he used to run things here and that generation would...
Get the bands on the knee, have a lager if you wish to, but be prepared.
That's what I was after.
That's what he'd say. I know you were. You set me up nicely, and I struck the ball off the tee nicely.
And just back to Pep Guardiola, because it did stem from his comments. Just on him generally, what do you think of him and what he's brought to the Premier League and the English game?
It's fantastic what he's achieved. There's no two ways about it. There's only probably maybe Arsenal with different reasons. Sir Alex would be number one, I think. But massively important to what he's done for himself, his players, but also football in general. So no two ways about it. What he's done has been remarkable in many different ways down the years.
And now, coach to coach, you have to try and find a way to beat his team. What about that challenge?
You definitely need them to have a quiet day. You need to play very, very well. Decisions might go your way and things like that. It's unlikely watching them and down the years, and I've played against them many times, unlikely you're going to dominate the ball, so you have to be defensively sound, you have to do all the hard yards, all the inches that can make a difference. And like I say, they're showing once again this season, early season, everyone's going, they're not this, they're not that. Then Arsenal have just a little wobble, and all of a sudden they're back there. Their stats are high physically and what they deliver. So, it's very rare in my experience you get a Man City side that's not prepared. Maybe they had a quieter one last season. That can happen, of course, but they're always prepared, and they're a good side and a top manager without a doubt.
And you can do all of that, get on top of all of those situations, and yet you still then have to deal with Erling Haaland.
It's not just him. He's a fantastic player, goal machine without a doubt. But there's lots of good players there. You know what I mean? They've got goals from all over the pitch at times. They're a top outfit. They've accumulated very, very good players over a number of years. Keep sort of evolving themselves into a machine, and they're doing that again so far this season. And he's doing that as well.
And what a game for the fans at Christmas here.
Yeah, I mean, the fans have been amazing. They were last night all the way down at Fulham at Christmas. I know it's expensive for fans. We have total respect for that. And here's been a brilliant atmosphere since I've been here, before I was here as manager and since I've been as manager. So we want to definitely give a performance that they can be proud of and go and win a game. That's the mentality without a doubt.